Fear is what holds so many entrepreneurs back from taking the leap of growing their business. Today, I'm speaking to Sophie, and let me tell you now, she's a smart cookie. She really knows her numbers. She knows them inside and out. But something's stopping her from doing the right stuff that could explode this business. And it's a great business model. And really, when you've got a brilliant business model, put some entrepreneurial growth into it, and you could really go to the stars. Let's have this conversation. Hello campers, welcome back to Business Broadcast. JB and I are joined again.
Hello everybody, hope you're well. Thank you for tuning in to the pod.
There we go. And we're speaking to a lady today called Sophie Ashley. What does she do, JB?
She does pest control.
Do you know what that is?
Getting rid of pests.
What sort of pests?
You, hopefully.
Yeah, husbands, wives.
Yeah. I guess, do they do all sorts? So I guess it'd be like
Rats. Mice. Bees.
We used to have a property management company. We used to have rats in one of the houses. They stink. When you get rats into a house,
We have pest control at all of our sites. It's just something that you absolutely have to do. It's a business that is, certainly from local authorities, you have to have a plan in place with a supplier. So, this is great business.
you have to have a plan.
Yeah, you have to say to a local authority, like if you're running a hotel, for example, that you've got a pest control plan in place.
What? How in depth does it have to be? What's your pest control plan? Well, if I see a rat, I'll hit it with something.
No. Like, have you got, like if you're next door to this very building, we've got a pest control plan in place because we're a food manufacturing business. And what likes food? Literally
Everything.
Every pest ever, whether it's flies. So you've got, like them blue lights, that you have in
The fly zappers.
The fly zappers. You might have different types of those depending on what industry or sector you're in.
So this is interesting. You like a bit of vertical integration.
Oh yeah, come on then.
Why have you not set up your own? Because surely you've got enough sites and units now that you need. How much do you spend a month on pest control?
I don't know, but not enough for me.
Not enough to get in. Oh, okay.
No.
Really?
No, and because, you want people local to you. If there is an outbreak of something, you want someone instantly.
Yeah, but loads of your businesses are in Essex. Surely you could plonk a waste pest control business.
It's just not what I want to do.
No.
That's the end of that one then, isn't it?
Fine. Done. Okay.
There we go.
Sophie did want to do it though. And she's doing rather well. They've been going under 2 years, estimated monthly revenue of £6,000. Team members, there's two of them. They're both the directors. So this is one of her pinch points, is that a lot of pest control companies start to really hit sort of better margins when you've got more technicians, I think she said, on the road, and then only a couple of office staff. But obviously at the moment, there's one tech out on the road and she's in the office. So effectively the tech is the person earning the money and she's the one making it happen, if that makes sense. Which is probably where the gross and the net profit margins are getting a little bit squeezed. We always ask people who are coming onto the podcast about their challenges. Biggest challenge number one is growing domestic, specifically hiring our first employee, second field technician, as it requires...
What is she saying here by growing domestic? Do you think this is people that have got a rat outbreak at home?
Yes.
Right.
I think that's their primary market. I think they're just going into corporate and trade and B2B stuff. I think they've done B2C to start with. We can find out in a minute. But she specifically, their challenge is around hiring their first employee, the second field technician, as it requires upfront capital, which we don't have. We're stuck in a cycle and business loans are expensive as we're trading under 2 years. So they haven't got the cash flow to be able to cash flow the extra vehicle technician. I wonder what the upfront capital must be. Bit of gear in a van, I guess, in this sort of space. Realistically,
let's keep reading, JB.
Second business challenge, growing the B2B business. Lots of competition from large national businesses. There you go. So that's the sector that they want to go into, which I guess has probably got more profitability in it, and there's probably more residual income, and there's probably more
definitely residual
monthly recurring clients.
Yes, definitely that.
Because in the instance right around here, for example, if she landed you as a client for this site, then she would probably, if she does a good job, wins Marsh Farm. Correct, and the Blue Ball and all the rest of it.
And we pay monthly retainers, and it's a good business, I would imagine.
Third challenge: limited cash reserves, no capital to invest in growth, so they're facing a dilemma of getting a loan or pack the business in. Oh, this is interesting. I didn't see that one coming. Where do they want to be in 1 year? They want
to. Sophie, when you listen back to, no one's got any money when they start though.
Yeah,
it takes years to build up cash flow. Don't let that.
Going bootstrapping it and growing through cash flow is bloody hard work.
Yeah, it is. but you need to do it because it teaches you so much.
Yes. And Sophie mentioned that she discovered this podcast because she's listened to other podcasts, and some of the other big podcasts out there, they grow their businesses through venture capital money. So they don't have to bootstrap anything. So it looks all right when you've got enough money to start a company and employ 30 top-rate people straight off the bat.
Yeah.
It's a different world in the bootstrapping game. Where they want to be in 1 year, hired one more field technician to grow revenue and to become profitable, because at the moment it sounds like they're just about breaking even. What does a business look like it's finished? They want to be the main pest control provider in the Northwest. Do you make the profit you want to make? If so, what is it? No, we've just started to break even. What do you do? You'll like this, Jimbo. What do you do day to day with your time in the business? Sales and marketing. So she knows her numbers very, very well.
Yeah, I have to say, we had a little pre-chat, didn't we?
A pre-chat.
As we always have a pre-chat. And I'm impressed by Sophie. She really was all
really
on
knew her numbers.
Knew her gross profit, knew that, and it's all right to not make money in the beginning if you know that you're going to get there because, you've got to get to certain economies of scale. What's not all right is losing money and not knowing why it's happening.
Yes.
Which
they're not in that position by the sounds of it.
No.
And then there's 5 questions that she'd like to ask to you as well. So should we get her on the pod?
Yeah, let's get her on. Hey gang, we're going back to the pod in just a moment, but I wanted to tell you about Entrepreneurs University. This is a platform that I've created for entrepreneurs and business owners that are serious about growth. There's 100 video lessons from me on everything in business, raising finance, buying companies, property investment, and everything in between. Attached to each video is a downloadable PDF that goes into more detail about what we've learned in the video. It goes one step further than that because I've also put stuff that you won't get anywhere else onto Entrepreneurs University. The lessons go into way more detail, but not just that. You're going to get my business plans, my spreadsheets, and all the files that I use to drive the KPIs in my business. Just think about how powerful that could be for your business. And here's the good news. You can try Entrepreneurs University for free. 14-day free trial. After that, it will cost you just $49.99 a month. That's less than a pair of Nikes to grow the profitability in your business. There's a link in the video description, and I cannot wait to see you in Entrepreneurs University.
Hey, Sophie, how are you doing?
Hello, I'm good, thank you.
Fantastic. Thank you for being on the pod. Did we give the business the right sort of summary? Been going a couple of years, $6,000, pushing to the $7,000 mark, estimated monthly revenue. But that challenge that you've got at the moment is the fact that the technician effectively is having to fund the back office, and the back office is you. So there's one person out earning the money and one sort of collecting the money, if that makes sense.
Yeah, spot on. And what you were saying as well about the monies in commercial was right as well. So there's a lot more. It's a lot more profitable when you have a massive commercial base, and that's the aim. But that takes time.
So, right, there's so many things that I wanted to just get into. We've got a really annoying flyer.
That's been around for the last 2 recordings.
It's really getting on my nerves.
Which, if you're watching these podcasts in real time, it looks like this fly's been here for 3 or 4 weeks at this point. No, because we're about to, it's the longest surviving fly ever. I'm going to get it though, don't you worry.
Yeah, it's really getting on my nerves. If you could, that'd be great. Sorry, Sophie, about the flyer.
Ironic though for this podcast, we've got a pest issue right now. So if Sophie is here,
do you want me to pop round?
She could swat it for us.
The growing the domestic, I'm going to leave that to the side because that's where you're getting your £6,000 a month. That's all coming from people that need one-off problems, at the moment, and there's a little bit of B2B.
Yeah.
What are you doing? You said most of your time was on sales and marketing. Like, what are you doing today to get customers?
In terms of marketing, so all of our domestic pretty much comes from PPC. We're starting to get a growing number of returning customers and local customers, just through like people near us on the maps. But most of it's through PPC.
And then how have you got, if any, wholesale customers? So like B2B?
We've just won our first 2 this month. Previous to that, we've really struggled in that. The first reason being we're a new business. So naturally, the more established businesses look better and they're less risky for a business to take them on over a new business like us.
I think I'm going to stop you there. That's you telling yourself that. Don't worry about that. Just get that out. Stop saying that to yourself because it will condition that that's the reason you're not doing stuff. There's plenty of new B2B businesses that win the day, and certainly I did. I got BP working for me within 18 months of me trading as Jimbo the Party Man at an entertainment company. Just get that out of your head and stop saying that to yourself. That is not the reason. And I think if people got themselves in front of you, Sophie, you're very articulate, you know your numbers, that would not be an issue. Lots of startup entrepreneurs think it. We now need to squash that. It no longer becomes a thing, and you don't say that anymore. What I would be doing, and I just want to give you some tidbits here. I would be ringing all the facilities management at all the local authorities near you, but picking up the phone and asking to speak to the property teams, the facilities management teams at local authorities, then secondary schools, then primary schools. They're the three that I would be focused. And once you get one over the line, you can then say to the other one, well, look, I do this secondary school and they really like us and blah, blah, blah. And it will be incestuous and it will spread like a bee storm, which you could then sort out to help grow the business. That's how I got all my first wholesale customers with the entertainment business in the B2B world. I just picked up the phone and smashed them digits and just said, how can we help you? Can we even do something for free for you? Can you see what we're like? We'll come and do something. We'll do a spot check, do a review for you. Maybe that's a good thing you could do. You could go and audit sites and say, look, this is what you need. And, you do a little report for them. Amazing.
That's a good idea. Yeah,
Legionella testing, if you can add that to the string to your bow one day as well. So you've got other services that always need renewing.
Yeah,
I mean, if I had your business and there's the two of you, the more time you can get in the car and just go and knock on doors and give a little brochure and a leaflet and a business card, and they get in front of you and you go, look, that stuff really works. The PPC is good. I'm glad you're doing that, but doing that, literally pounding the streets and picking up the phone, 100 calls a day. If you made 100 calls a day and you did 500 calls in a week, your business will explode. And if you just did that for 1 year, oh my God.
I love that point in new companies. You just got to smash the phone, and the only results are the ones that you're literally going to, if you do 10 more calls, you'll get more results. We talked about in the last podcast about that 10% increased effort. Things like the phone bash or the door knocking, it's very, very obvious to see the correlation between outcome and input, which is really rewarding. Hard work, but rewarding.
And direct mail as well. Find out, you've got to make a database of the decision maker, the facilities manager at secondary schools, the facilities manager at the home, the property department at local authorities, the facilities manager in the big businesses where you operate, and you just make sure they're getting, you build up a database of 500 people and you're sending out them a letter 3 times a year just to remind them that you're still there, the same, offer deadline. This is what we can do. That is how you grow this business. PPC is good, let's do it, but it gets more and more expensive, and I'm sure you found that. You think, oh my God, I'm putting another £100 into Google and I need to get fast results. The best way is always picking up the phone and knocking on doors, and there will be mountains of business out there. And you don't even say that you're 2 years old. You just say, look, we're really good at what we do. We're passionate, blah, blah, blah. Yeah. That's how I would grow this business.
That makes a lot of sense. And, we've actually had a lot of one-off jobs at schools and facility management sites they look after, but we've never followed up and offered free audits or anything like that.
Oh, my God. So as soon as you've done something for a school, you say, look, do you want a maintenance plan? Well, for £200 a month, we will come in and do everything for you. And you just get them on a standing order, and then you've got regular cash flow coming in.
Yeah.
Bish bash bosh.
And
Sophie's got the dosh.
Leverage that client to get the other clients as well.
Yeah. And he's a big because head teachers, guess who they know?
Are they head teachers?
Absolutely, JB. He knows it. And local authorities know other local authorities, and it just can scale up.
Yeah, that makes total sense.
Which brings me, your first question. Would you like to ask James how do small businesses make the first step to hire an employer with no money for a van equipment, but without killing ourselves with a huge loan? Get good at sales and marketing.
Yeah.
But it's really direct response marketing that you need to be doing. So if you're in Entrepreneurs University, all of my marketing stuff, go over it 10 times. You've got to become a marketeer of your business, a business development manager of your business over the admin money person over your business. And you just pound them streets over. It will be the best investment. You'll start getting results very quickly.
Yeah, that does make sense. I think that's it. A lot of the marketing now is aimed at domestic customers are people just living in, houses, families that need someone same day. But we need that residual income coming in monthly to enable us to start growing profits, so we can start to save up for the van, the equipment, the license for that second technician, which is where we were stuck.
The thing is, Sophie, you will not have a concern about taking the loan on once you start seeing more and more leads coming in and deal flow. The reason you're reticent to do that, the reason you're worried about doing that, is because fear of, are you going to be able to pay it all back?
Yeah,
that's exactly why you're doing it. Like, like if you had 50 leads coming in today, you'll be taking the loan out without even thinking about it. And if every day 50 more leads and 50 more jobs come in, you wouldn't think about it. It's fear that's stopping you from going, bosh.
Yeah, it's a fear, because thinking no one's going to want to go with a young business. Do we need to bide our time?
Stop saying that.
3-4
Remember the rules,
mark?
Sophie. No,
okay.
That's got to stop now. That.
Do you know what? Yeah. Just in case she does it again, I've got an alarm buzzer. If she does it one more time, she's getting buzzed.
Yeah, it's nothing to do with about being a young business. Sophie,
you've already got the clients you want. You just didn't ask them to buy from you again.
Yeah.
You just went in, did a great job, and forgot to ask for their money again.
Yeah, absolutely. And Sophie, you're going in worried about that. You've said it 5 times on the podcast.
And not to get all woo-woo, but the universe, like, you're holding yourself back subconsciously, because the universe will not present you what you want if you're saying that you don't want it. Like, that is a bit like Tony Robbins-esque, but it's true, isn't it, to a certain extent?
That's like it's just not. It just stop it. It just isn't, because once people meet you, like if you go in and say, look, we're a new business, I'm not sure if we're right for you because we're a new business. That's like, I feel like you're going to say, like we're a brilliant business. We really look after you. We look after our customers. We just want to do a great job. Like, that's what you should be saying, not we're a new business. You probably don't want to deal with us.
Yeah.
Which is the vibe that you're giving off multiple times. Stop it now.
Okay, I will.
Right, so that was the first question, was about the van situation. Question number 2, which was any strategies or tips for entering the B2B market against large national companies? Service,
that you care, and anyone that meets you, Sophie, you obviously care, because you care so much that you're new, and but when people, I'm a big believer that ultimately people buy from people.
100%.
And the big national companies might not. We don't use big national companies for any of our pest services and any of our businesses. We want the local people that are on it, that know stuff. And I think this is a good thing where you don't have to worry about that so much. I think you're worrying about, you're saying, oh, there's big national companies, but actually I think you're in a good niche where you don't have to worry about that.
Yeah, I think that's true. That makes sense, and it's interesting to hear that you'll favour local companies. I think, like you say, I think you kind of answered it before. We just need to kind of go for it, don't we?
Yeah, because no one's committing big money with you, Sophie. Like, would we use a big company for our insurance? Yeah, we spend 400 grand a year with insurance. We want a good insurer. We won't want some Mickey Mouse insurer for that situation. I always laugh about that Mickey Mouse line, because it's one of the most powerful brands in the world.
Yeah.
I just always think that every time it's some Mickey Mouse insurance. What, Disney? But you get my point. I think the people want to buy this local, that people that know stuff, that will look after them, and it's service. Like, no one cares about a national plumber or a national plasterer. They want
speed and service, isn't it?
Yes, absolutely.
It's a sort of an immediacy, urgency business, isn't it? You don't go to Google. Do you know what? If I ever do have a problem with cockroaches, just want to know, Lowe's, they're good. People are literally getting on it. It's a good idea to do BPC, just to make sure that you rank for those certain keywords within the area. But you're not competing on price. You're not competing on brand. You're competing on how fast can you get there and how local are you to the problem.
Yeah. Exactly. That's exactly it. There's a water leak in my kitchen. Like, people on Facebook, does anyone know an emergency plumber?
Yeah.
It's like, this person's really good. Right. That's it.
Exactly.
So recommendation will build it over time. And look, obviously, Sab, I'm not lying to you. Yes, establishment absolutely helps you in business. You've been around 20 years. That's absolutely going to be a string to your bow. And over time, you're going to have establishment every single month, every single job that you do. That's just going to keep on adding the snowball effect to your business. But, that local hero thing is definitely something that I think you should be singing from the hills about.
Sure. And can I ask a question on that? So we got recommended, well, someone gave us some advice and they said that in order to try and tap into this market, we should voluntarily become VAT registered so we appear bigger than we are. Do you think that matters to companies if we appear VAT registered and appear bigger in this kind of where we are now, or do you not think it matters?
Well, you're going to become VAT registered anyway, aren't you? You're 2 minutes away from that. If you're doing £6,000 a month, I mean, that's going to happen for you, isn't it?
But it would probably be kind of like end of year 2, 3, yeah.
Well, why? Why does it have to
Oh,
be the
no.
end of it?
Oh, no. That small thinking came back. Sorry, Sophie. You had to get buzzed. Come on.
Yeah. I mean, look, the medicine for you, Sophie, is you got to think bigger. Thinking bigger will give you much bigger results.
Okay, sure.
Why not be VAT registered next month? Why not go and speak to the local authority and get a 30 grand contract? Boom. You're now VAT registered.
It's because if we become VAT registered, that 20% goes onto the domestic price and it will make us less competitive in the domestic market. In the commercial, it doesn't matter as much at all. It's just for that domestic piece, they've got to pay that a little bit more.
Yeah, I know, but what, do you just want to stay under 95 grand for the rest of your life?
No, we were just going to put it off as long as possible until we got to 95 grand and then had to do it.
Yeah. I mean, you can't avoid it. I mean, and that's stopping you from getting what you want to get in life, just putting it off as long as possible.
Okay, sure.
Sophie, what I would be doing is thinking, right, next year we're going to be £1 million business and we're going to get 4 local authorities, 10 secondary schools. I'm going to be pounding the phones. Like, just, you got to think a bit bigger.
Okay.
Which goes on to question number 3. They say that businesses make a loss in the first few years. How do you know if you're on something if the numbers look a bit scary? What are the positive signs to be looking for to keep going?
Well, I think we start with model. Have you got a good business model? I actually think you do have a good business model. It's Pest Control is a great business model. And most people have terrible business models. So, for example, you know, they turn £1 million and they lose 100 grand. If you were turning £1 million with your gross profit margins that you've told us, you'd be making £250,000 profit, wouldn't you?
Yeah. The gross profit's great in this business.
Yeah. So you know all that. So what are you worried about? Your problem is not enough customers.
Yeah.
Tell me if I'm wrong.
No, you are. It's not enough commercial customers. We just need that residual income because, like you say, at the minute, a lot of our net profit is being hoovered up by marketing costs. But when we've got residual income and the diaries are fuller, guaranteed for the next 12 months, we can then spend less on trying to acquire domestic customers and overall things will balance out and become much more.
Well, you just spend it. No, you want it all. Keep with the Google PPC. Don't ever reduce that. Keep doing that. But also do lots of good old-fashioned marketing too, which no one wants to do anymore. So if, Sophie, you were starting your business in 1965, you wouldn't have had Google to do this. You would have had to pick up the phone, send letters and knock on doors. That's how you would have grown that business, yeah, in 1965. Now, Google's turned up, so everyone goes, I'm just going to do Google PPC. And you've seen leads come through. You've seen results on that. So you keep feeding the machine. We want to keep on doing that. You don't want to not do that. But you also want to do the good old-fashioned stuff as well, because you go and find a secondary school that's got a £20 million budget to run the school and they're going to spend 15, 25 grand a year on pest control. Over 10 years, they're going to spend, £250,000 with you. Lovely.
Sure. I think definitely that. I was more meaning in terms of for keywords like people looking for, they've got a rat in the house, they'll usually want it sorted within 24 hours. And when we're getting to the point where we're fully booked, they ring us and we're turning money away and we're wasting it. But if it was more like PPC for commercial, that totally makes sense to keep that coming in.
Yeah. But you won't be turning it away when you've got a few staff and a few more vans, will you?
No, hopefully not. No, that's the aim.
Sophie, look, I mean, it's very obvious talking to you that you know your numbers. You're a person that is all over that, and that's going to serve you well. However, it can stop you something. When you're that good at numbers and knows gross profits, it can stop you doing anything that sometimes you just have to take a little bit of a
leap
risk.
of faith.
Or a leap of faith, yeah. You have to do a little bit. And that's what entrepreneurs do. And I think you would benefit from, getting rid of some of the small mind stuff that is maybe holding you back.
Yeah. Yeah, that it does make sense now you're saying it.
Is it you and your partner who run this together?
Yes, he does the pest control, yeah.
So you're already so many steps ahead of most people, because most people sit on the sidelines as entrepreneurs rather than being entrepreneurs, because doing what you're doing is scary, because there's no plan B. There's no one who's got the corporate job and the other person's doing the side hustle that's turned into the full-time gig, and you hope this is going to work. Like, you guys either pay your mortgage or don't based on your own entrepreneurial skills, and that's a scary place to be. But you know what? You're already turning money. You've already got clients. You're already getting the right kind of, you've already got some of the right kind of customers. You just haven't ask them again for the sale. And this is something that businesses do quite frequently there, and we've talked about this before we started recording today. Everyone's chasing the new or the better or the shiny thing, but actually, or the new customer or the new client. But what about the clients you've already got? If you've got a database of them, are you looking after them on a CRM system? Have you got an automated email that touches base with them 3 months after? Hey, hopefully the problem's been resolved, blah, blah, blah. You might nudge and remind people that you're still there, but a lot of people are just, as Jimbo said, you give more money to Larry and Serge at Google, or more money to Meta to get to a new audience. But what about the people that you've already got? You might be able to resell those people with a bit of joined up thinking.
The other thing as well is, Sophie, I would be absolutely on your personal Facebook just saying, does anyone know anyone that works at the council that could recommend us?
Community groups on Facebook.
Yeah,
mega.
All of that. Like, just spend all your time doing that. It will explode, I promise you, because you're an essential service. If someone's got a rat sitting on their sofa in their lounge, or a rat in the school, it's got to go.
Yeah.
It's got to go. And, I think you've got something good here.
Yeah, that's really good advice. Thank you.
Number 4, what was it, JB?
How soon would you start looking at complementary businesses, e.g. a specialist hygiene company once the first one is successful, or sooner?
I mean, I'd be looking all the time. I always look all the time. Anything that you can fold in. I would even try and find businesses that do what you do that are already trading. See if you can buy in their round or their database retirement sales. Especially, you can just take them on and pay no money for them in many cases, or you pay them over a period of time out of the sales. But yeah, beyond that, all the time. But and going and viewing businesses, you learn so much as well. You go and see a cleaning company and they say, yeah, we do this for that, school or that local authority, and you go, well, how'd you get them customers? And they say, oh, we did X, Y, Z. We're on this tender website and stuff like that. How many tenders are you doing, Sophie?
Unfortunately, none at the minute, and the reason for that is a lot of proper tenders need health and safety qualifications, which we've just submitted for, but it takes a while to get the CHAS and safe contractor actual awards. But once we've got that, we really want to start going after it. But again, it's just a biding our time thing.
Okay.
And the final question that Sophie had put in, question number 5, was, and I think you'll like this and not like it. Do you have any experience or recommend networking groups, e.g. BNI?
You just need to go and knock on doors and pick up the phone. That's your networking, Sophie. Sophie, I'm just putting myself out here. I think you're very good. I think just from the chat we had, you are someone that knows how many beans make 5, but fear is holding you back, and lack of good old-fashioned marketing is holding the business back. If you can solve those 2 problems, putting your analytical finance brain into the mix, you should explode in growth.
I also think it would be very, very beneficial for you to get around a group of other entrepreneurs and business people.
Absolutely.
I think you are the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with, and I think if you're probably doing the whole thing of you're working from home, your partner's going out doing the actual business, you're probably not seeing daylight between Monday and Friday. You probably spend that time that you do have with friends and family who maybe are entrepreneurs or maybe not entrepreneurs. You need to get around other people who are running companies, but
doing better than you.
And the challenge with BNI, this is not a knock on BNI, but there's a lot of people who go at 7 o'clock in the morning to have a second-rate breakfast and talk a load of hot air in a circle, quite frankly. And how often you leave those things less motivated than you walk through the door. Will you get some leads? Maybe not. But I would try and find like a small group of entrepreneurs that are in that local area. There'll be like, you mentioned like the Powerhouse Awards. I bet there's like a local group in Preston for maybe female business leaders or new business leaders, and join those sorts of communities. I reckon you get more from that than just networking for the sake of referring leads to each other.
I've just thought of something else as well, Sophie, while I was talking, while JB was talking. Make sure you knock on every letting agent's door. They've got like 150 landlords.
Yeah, great idea.
Or property, and make sure they know about you and you're regularly going back to them. Leave them a little fridge magnet or, a toy rat and say, do you want to you don't want one of these in your properties. We're the people for you.
Oh, that's a good idea, isn't it?
And this fly's got to go.
So
where
ironic.
are you, Sophie?
This is so ironic. There's a
yes.
job for you here, Sophie, but it's a long old way to travel.
Yeah, so those sorts of things, because if you can find a letting agent that's looking after 100 landlords, 3 times a year, he's going to have a call, isn't he?
Oh, yeah.
It's funny you say that. It's actually really funny you say that, because last night we had a local estate agent ring us, and I was going to ask this question to you anyway. They've got an advertising opportunity where we become one of their kind of business partners in the local area. They have 3 branches around the Preston area, and it would be an advert in their brochure they hand out at all property viewings. It would also be that if any landlords have issues, we sign up, and it was £700 for the year plus VAT, which I thought was reasonable, but I wanted to get your take on whether that's the kind of thing we should be doing.
Now, I would go to them and say, well, how about this? You pay us £1,500 a month and we'll look after all your landlord's properties, and you can bill out our time at whatever price you want, and we'll do up to 50 visits.
Right, as like a contract.
But you start the conversation. Say, look, we want to be recommended, whenever you've got a problem. How many times did you call a pest control person this year?
Yeah, find that out.
Yeah, find that out. They go, yeah, we done 70 times. All right, we'll give you the £700, but we would also like to put on a retainer for £1,500 a month, and you charge the landlords out, but we want the regular £1,500 a month.
Right, okay.
So they might be charging a landlord £200 for a visit, but they're only paying you £1,500 a month, and they get. But it gives you that big chunk of residual income. Once you've got £1,500 a month coming in, you're probably more, confident to go and take a loan out for another van, another technician. And actually, when you employ people, Sophie, here's the other thing. When you employ people and you take on some loans and financing, half make you more motivated to go out and get more business.
Yeah.
It's the proverbial rocket up your bum, isn't it? Yeah. Oh, you owe some money to some people now. Yeah. Right, sure. The other thing with what Jim was saying there with the letting agents is the great thing with that is that if you make one relationship, you get multiple clients at the same time, potentially through their customers or their tenants. And also, half the challenge that people will often find is, where do I find these great leads? The brilliant thing with letting agents is, guess what? You go onto Rightmove or Zoopla, and they're all listed. You can literally go Preston, put in the postcodes for Preston, get them to come up in a list view, and Zoopla will give you every single phone number of a letting agent. So if you're going to sit there and phone bash, instead of you bashing the phone to potential domestic clients or potentially to various departments you're going to get passed from pillar to post to start with, you could probably 90% of the time you're going to get through to the letting agency that you're actually after and find out who deals with the tenancy management. And then you can, whether it be like a nicely branded PDF email that you send to people, that could be a great idea, because then you're making the one phone call that could ultimately, you get you loads of leads at the same time.
Yeah, that's a brilliant idea. Thank you.
Good stuff. Sophie, I like you. I think you're going to go far. You just need to, there's just some mindset things, but you'll get over that. You're in your early days. What's your partner's sort of mindset? Go, 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 or is he, careful like you?
No, he's all for it. He knows, because he's worked in pest control all of his life. That's his career before this, until we did this together. And my background, my career was in marketing, so we kind of come together to start it. And he knows just how much demand there is. The industry, a lot of businesses, as you said earlier on, are becoming more aware that they need pest control for prevention rather than just once they've got it. So the marketing and industry is supposed to increase constantly every year, and a lot of the pest controllers are coming up to retirement age, and there's a skills gap. There's not enough people in the next 10 years that are coming into the industry as young graduates. So the opportunity is there. We just kind of need to manage cash flow, make it happen in the short term so that we can really kind of make it go long term. But Yeah, that's everything you've said has
The
been
thing
so
is,
helpful.
Sophie, that you're doing the wrong marketing. Like, you can't just rely on pay-per-click and Google Ads, and like the old school marketing
Yeah,
really does work. And
yeah,
and lots of people, just don't do it. It's so frustrating.
yeah.
I will recommend, and I mean, I don't know. Again, I always recommend read my book, Getting Customers. I think that's a really good foundation. And then read anything by a guy called Dan Kennedy. He does a book called Dan Kennedy, Grassroots for Small Local Businesses. It's a brilliant book. And a lot of the theories are in my book, Getting Customers, as well. But those things will really help.
Okay, I'll go and get them. Thank you.
Before you go, Sophie, if someone is in the Northwest, if they got a pest problem right now, or maybe they are a facilities manager, or they work in a letting agency, or maybe they work for the council, and they think, do you know what, I'd love to give a young company a foot up the ladder, where can they get in contact?
Lowe's Pest Control, as of now, we do free audits. Just give us a call.
Oh, bless you.
Brilliant stuff. Well, it's been great to have you on, Sophie. Make sure you stay in touch and let us know. Maybe we'll circle back to you in 6 months' time and find out what strategies you implemented and see how you're getting on.
Good stuff.
Yeah, no problem. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Sophie.
Thanks for being on, Sophie. Brilliant stuff. What a lovely young lady.
Oh, yeah, hopefully.
Smart.
Yeah, you can just tell.
Yeah,
But fear holds her back.
it does indeed.
Let's rate her.
Let's do that.
Okay, guys, if you're new to the podcast, like Sophie was, she only discovered us a few weeks ago through YouTube recommendations. And she managed to get on because we had a cancellation. She was meant to come on late summer, August, I think. Anyway, so
Snuck up the
Sophie,
totem pole,
we are
didn't
now
she?
going to rate you on the 8 traits of great entrepreneurs, which you can now do as an online quiz on my website, jamessinclair.net, or a link in the video description where you can rate yourself as an entrepreneur by taking a 3-4 minute quiz, and it will tell you all the things that you need to work on. And it's completely free.
You couldn't make this stuff up.
We're just like the gift that keeps on giving, aren't we?
And the great thing is with that quiz, at the end of the quiz, the areas where you're potentially lacking, there are suggestions from you on how to make improvements, isn't there?
Absolutely, senor.
It's like having James Sinclair in your pocket. It'd have to be a big pocket, wouldn't it, with them arms these days? Look at him
There
stacked.
we go. Yes.
Go on then.
Okay, so starting with the end in mind, yeah, I think they do know what they want to build, don't you think?
Yeah, go on then. Why not?
Yeah. Passionate about their cause.
Well, he's been a career pest controller, and she's.
So there we go.
Oh yeah, I'd say that. Yeah, I would say that.
Untold amounts of resilience. There's fear.
Nah.
The master relationships people. Well, she's not. She just wants to do Google PPC. It's got to get better at that. So no.
Oh blimey.
Commercial awareness. I think she.
Oh, she does. Yeah, I reckon.
Yeah, she's good
She
with
knows
numbers.
her numbers.
Yeah,
for sure.
so she's on 3 so far.
3 so far.
They innovate so they don't evaporate. I'm not giving her that.
No, she can't. Have that one.
They're master marketeers.
But I think she will take action. I think she's
Yeah,
a big
yeah, she
action
will.
taker. So now it's been raised to
Or
her.
maybe
She'll-
when she comes back on in a year's time, she might raise the rating.
There you go.
They're master marketeers. She knows marketing, but I think she doesn't know the marketing that works for small businesses. She's done a marketing course and she's learned how to do marketing for Coca-Cola or bloody... I'll give
Yeah.
her half.
Go on
Half. Stay teachable and curious. Yes.
Definitely.
So what's that, JB?
So that is Sophie from Lowe's Pest Control gets a solid 4.5 points. That means that she's gone flying up the list above Nick from Ginger Herd, just below Ian from the Solar Company. Kesh had a 4.5, Tech and Co had a 4.5. So she's in some good company, and she's just above Chris from Gecko Products, who scored a 4 a little while ago. If you're thinking, I don't remember any of these episodes, you can click previous episodes and listen to all those conversations. And if you're thinking, I couldn't care less, it's just for a bit of fun because we got a jingle.
Do you believe in some voodoo stuff? Do you believe...
What do you mean voodoo stuff?
Well, do you believe there's
A higher power?
a higher power? Because I've just flicked my notebook open and this page has come up.
Go on, what?
I'm just going to put it up on screen. I think it's just so relevant to the conversation. I wonder if that can... Do you reckon the cameras pick that up?
Yeah, that'll do.
Yeah, the cameras pick that up.
Tell everyone who's listening, though.
It's a page in the James Sinclair notebook.
It's literally a page out of the James Sinclair notebook.
It's a page out of the James Sinclair notebook. Small thinking leads to small results. Big thinking leads to big results. The bigger you think, the less competition you will have. I think that's a nice point to close that conversation we just had.
Do you believe in woo-woo stuff like that then? You called it voodoo,
I
which is more like,
believe that the more optimistic you are, the luckier you are.
You also say that good things happen to good people. Do you believe that?
I do believe that, but some people don't. But I do believe that, because I think if you're a good person, people want to fight for you.
Yeah, I think you're right. That's one of the things that Hayley came away from last week when we came to the Dino Park. She was like, "They've got an amazing team. They're all just amazing, aren't they?" I was like, "Yeah, but that's like a culture thing, isn't it?" She's like, "Isn't it nice that someone's doing as well as he? He's just a nice guy." I was like, "He's not behind the scenes. He's a right arse," but fair enough.
I think it's frustrating when you're a business owner. There is an element of authority, or leadership. If you're put into position, there is an element of, what's the word, JB? That
Cutthroat. Are you cutthroat?
Not cutthroat. I don't think, but you can't be
Soft.
You can't suffer fools gladly.
No, but would you? But do you think you're that way inclined?
Sometimes I don't like that I have to be someone that puts their foot down. Sometimes that annoys me.
It annoys you.
I'd much rather just be lovely. But every now and then you have to say, no, that is not good enough, and we're not going to be doing it like that. Or I think that we're being done over there. Or
And are you uncomfortable doing that?
Uncomfortable, but the more years you trade and the bigger you get, the more times you're put into situations where you have to be like that.
Do you
not necessarily with your own team, but with the world in general? People want to do you over. People want to slag you off. Or
do you think people mistake your kindness for weakness?
I don't think I'm weak. No.
Well, definitely not. Look at he tensed again. No. Look at these arms.
No, I'm a person that can deal with stuff. I'm aware of that.
But do you think your persona, because of the Jimbo, the party man, because you're very gregarious and out there and flamboyant? Some would say camp. I mean, I wouldn't say that, but it has been said.
Yeah, I am. I think I am camp. Yeah.
But do you think that people maybe come into a situation? For example, if you go to like a bank, like a stiff upper lip bank, they're like, "Oh, this guy writes some books, he does some podcasts."
That's a great thing. The way I would speak and talk to a bank or a financier now is very different to the James Sinclair of 20 years ago.
But it's the same person, fundamentally.
It's the same person, but I would please, can I have some money 20 years ago? Well, why are you not giving it to me would be now. And why are you making me pay it back over such a short period of time? I want it over that period of time. I don't want to pay you stupid rates. And, they're the...
But will you have that conversation in that way? Quite forcefully?
Yeah. Yeah.
We should do an undercover YouTube.
I would never, ever swear in front of a bank 20 years ago. But if I think they're being out of line, I go, can you just have a day off here? I think you're being unrealistic and unreasonable, and someone needs to tell you.
What's the trait that you look for in your senior management? What's the one sort of like non-negotiable of who they are as a person?
I don't like mood hoovers and toxic people. And it's the same thing.
And if they come in, if you employ them, because obviously everyone can give a good sort of face-to-face interview for half an hour. But let's say, for example, they come in, they get their feet under the desk, and within a couple of weeks you find out they're a bit of a vibe sniper.
Your job as an entrepreneur is to get them out.
Always. Will you get them out even if they're talented?
Yeah. You must always, because they can ruin. And I've made those mistakes a number of times over the years, and I'm too slow to exit them from the business.
Oh, really?
You get better at it. I'm not, if I know someone's not an A player, they're a C player, and you put them in with A players, it annoys the A players so much.
Yeah.
And because if you have a heart, like you're trying to get them to be an A player, they just can't be. And I might take 6 months to make a decision when
I
know after 6 weeks they've got to go.
See, that's what I'm talking about there with the sort of like you're not soft, but like I think the perception of entrepreneurs who've done as well as you've done.
But if they're nice people, it takes me too long to deal with it.
Does it?
Yeah. If they are useless and not a nice person, I can deal with it very quickly.
So do you put protections around it because you know that you're that way inclined? Like if they're not that good but they're nice, then you struggle with it. Have you got someone like a second, like an Aaron or a Janky, who will come in and just be like, they'll pull the trigger and put everyone out of their misery? Imagine it's Janky.
I'm sure there's people underneath them that I don't. I'm only really responsible for, say, 15 people that directly report into me. It's not even as much as that. But I'm aware of what 20 or 30 people do out of 1,200 people.
Okay. Interesting. We've got to deal with this fly before the
Yeah,
next
we have,
podcast
absolutely.
episode. Well, brilliant conversation.
He's so confident, this fly.
I know, he just doesn't care, does he?
So
We're
he
even
came in,
talking.
he had a newspaper under his arm and he was sitting on your
Talking
shoulder.
about pest control, couldn't care less, lads. I'm going to sit right in your face.
Yeah.
In 4K.
No,
Could
it's
not
the
care
fact-
less.
The fact we're doing a pest control episode and we've got a pest.
Just brilliant.
There we go.
If you have enjoyed this episode, make sure you leave us a 5-star review wherever you download your podcast. I know we always bang on about that sort of stuff, but it actually does make a difference.
Yeah,
You might
please.
even get a shout out on the pod. In fact, we should do some shout outs. The next episode, we do some shout outs, some nice reviews. And if you're on YouTube, leave us a comment as well. We love the
We
comments.
always like to say hello to John Buckley from Australia, who's a regular viewer and watcher and always the first to comment. Thanks again for commenting first, John.
He's a good guy. We'll see you on the next pod. Ta-da.
Thanks for watching today, gang. I hope you enjoyed the show. Now, look, we're looking for some great businesses to come on the podcast. If you've got challenges, but you're desperate to grow your business and you can't necessarily work out how to do it on your own, you'll be a perfect candidate to come here on the podcast. It's absolutely free to come on the show. Go to my website, jamessinclair.net, and there's a podcast button. Click on the podcast button, fill in the application form, and we'll do our very best to get you on the show and try and grow your business. If you're loving the podcast, make sure you subscribe to the channel by clicking here. And why not give this one a watch? I think you'll like it.